What's going on, everybody? I am here in the office getting ready for our PDC meeting, Planning Development and Committee meeting tonight. And before I do that, I want to do our newsletter, just get you up to date with some of the things that have been happening this month. First of all, it's budget season. So we have been going through the budget this week. We have a few amendments that are coming forward, but I just wanted to read off just a few of the highlights of the budget. If you missed the budget meeting, the replay will be available for you. We'll put the link right here, maybe. And we'll go from there. So just to speak to a few of these points, the 2024 budget, operating budget, has an overall increase of 6.3%, which means that our residents will see an increase of 2.3%, which is less than the increase last year on the budget this year. So the tax bill, the residential tax bill, will see a 2.3% increase. The total cost will continue from normal operations, and that is recommended an increase by $14.5 million or 1.8%. And as always, the cost to maintain the services is the thing we look at. It is recommended an increase by 2.9% to offset the $3.7 million or 0.6% of the efficiencies and cost savings found by the city staff. So that being said, overall, it means that we'll see a 2.3% increase on our residential tax bill for this year. One of the other things to consider is the regional taxes that we're looking at now, our regional budget, and we are still in the process now, but there is a big ask coming there, and we are working really hard to ensure that our residents don't see the impact of that with the transition coming. Please remember to do the budget survey. We're asking our residents what is important to you, and we've heard everything from cycling infrastructure to housing to keeping the streets clean, and we want to hear from you. Transit is a big one for this year as well. We are actually making investment in transit. We can't talk about making people more dependent on transit and less dependent on the car without having a really good transit. I was asking questions in council about actually taking care of our drivers. I know that they are getting abused, that there is times when, because of the service interruptions, by the time they see the residents and people on their buses, they take some heat. So it's I want to take care of our drivers, because we could have shiny buses all day long, and if our grumpy drivers have been really feeling it from the riders, then it makes for a bad experience for everybody. So let's make sure that everyone is taken care of as we go through this process. On the housing file, we have been talking a lot about fourplexes. Now, fourplexes or threeplexes, as of right, are one of the things we've been talking about for a long time as a solution for the housing crisis. How do we make these houses more affordable, more accessible? And right now, we are working through just approving fourplexes as of right. That means that there'll be less barriers for people to make affordable housing and allows for zoning for changes to your street. The reality is that as much as we have many people who are against this, we could see that haven't been that many examples of these coming up. We just want to make it more available and a more viable option for those who want to do that. But at the same time, we even seen how in places like California, where they've had this in place for years, they've seen maybe 50 units arise as a result of it. So it's not going to be a big jump, but it's more about making sure that there is enough ways and making it accessible for people to find different ways to address the housing crisis. And we can't forget about everything that's happening with our shelters and the encampments and the asylum seekers. These things are hitting us here in Ward 9, and we know of encampments. We know of the shelters being 200% above capacity, 200% above capacity. So that being said, we want to address these things, and we have funding that has come in from the provincial government to address the asylum seekers so we can get them out of the shelters, opening up shelter beds, which allows us to go back to those who are doing encampments in the area and go back to them and get them into the shelter system and out of the cold. So we're working on all of these initiatives, and that is the cycle, because I know people have been asking about that. We've got some funding, we'll address the asylum seekers, we'll open up the shelter beds, and we'll get people off the streets as it gets colder. One of the other things that we've been talking about is the dissolution of Peel. What's happening with that? How does that impact our taxes? One of the questions that was asked over the budget meeting yesterday was, what is the dissolution of Peel going to mean for our property taxes? Well, an independent city is something that is going to help Mississauga residents and businesses in so many ways. Our money isn't going to be spent supporting 2 other municipalities. It gives us more decision-making process. We're not going to be overhead with administration, and efficiencies will be brought to our city. So it will take years to see that, but in the meantime, it gives us the freedom to move and to write the script for some of our human services and other initiatives that do need some attention. So we'll be looking at that, and you'll see the long track record of Mississauga making strong fiscal decisions, being our own destiny, being written by allowing us to keep all of our monies that come into our city into services that help our city. I hope you've been on the ward9.ca website. Bam, right there. Because one of the things that we've been talking about is the Have Your Say survey. The Have Your Say Future Directions Plan is something that helps us to get an idea of what's important to you. I do spend a lot of time talking with residents and doing our drop-ins and doing our cores and doing our Facebooks, Instagram lives, all those different things. We want to be as accessible as possible, and Ward 9 is a place to point you to. Please check out the website so we can hear what you have to say, future directions for our city. You're the one who's writing the script for your own city, so please be involved there. Smart centers. I want to update you on that. We brought smart centers to our PDC, and the mixed use proposal, we changed the name. We listened to you. It's no longer called employment sites. No one's looking for a job here. No one is losing their retail. We are looking at it from the perspective of how do we get residential into that space? And the answer is, it depends. It depends on where you're building it. We've made sure that the whole area is not subject to change. Our Walmart stays, all of our stores stay. There's one phase that can be moved. Those stores can be moved, and there's still space to make one phase of building. But even that isn't going to happen because we made sure that the conditions were conditional upon all day go on the Milton line. We made it conditional upon some other things like the Region of Peel official plan amendment and some other pieces to it. So we're making sure that if and when this is built, it is built right and addresses the needs of the community. It will not be something that doesn't happen without any consultation from you. So we appreciate you joining us for all the town halls and all the future meetings. Even the protests, the petitions and the letters. I appreciate all of you being engaged in your community. Let's do this right. Let's keep the conversation going, and we can make that Smart Centers Plaza one that serves our community better than ever. Simply because we can address the parking, making common space, we can address some of the open spaces and make them more usable and even livable spaces in the future. So that's what we're working towards as a big picture, 5-10 years down the road. Cycling infrastructure. This is something that is always a challenge, but we want to say that we are working towards completing the cycling infrastructure. It looks like no one's using it now. Well, we see that when we have the students who are using it. The GO train, we want to set this up so by the time we get all day GO, that's in place. We're trying to connect the cycling infrastructure to the Meadowvale Business Park. Isn't it interesting right now we have this network of paths around Meadowvale and Central Air Mills, but on the other side of Mill Creek, on the other side of Air Mills Parkway, just over the highway, that's Ward 9 as well. That is Meadowvale Business Park, and none of the cycling infrastructure goes there. There's no bike paths to get people to work, to the pharma companies, to the warehouses, to the logistics that are in that area. So all of these paths being connected over the next couple of years all tie into getting people to work and from work, getting people to school and from school. So it's going to take some time, and there is going to be some growing pains. I can't say that I'm super excited about some of the ways that things are being done right now, but we'll work it all out. And I appreciate my friends on Barrisdale, my friends on all the streets along Aquitaine that are giving me feedback on it, for good or for bad. It's all helping us to craft this and make sure that it's done right. On the bike lanes as well, Argentia is almost done. We're talking about the curb there. It's called a truck apron. If you notice the curb when you're making the right onto Winston Churchill from Argentia, that's set up so that the trucks don't run the curb when they're making their right turn. It's a safety precaution that has been mandated, I believe, through MTO to make sure that they can make those safe right turns. It doesn't endanger pedestrians or people on their bikes. So little things like that, learning more about it every day. The Argentia piece is done. Aquitaine is a pilot, once again, just to remind you, so it's being done with paint. I have a vision to do this more on the boulevard for the shared pathway, the mixed-use trails, as opposed to on the street. We'll see how it turns out, but we want to make sure that we do this pilot, get our data, and then make a choice. I'd like to dispel the myth that all these decisions are predetermined and you don't have a say. I want to have you involved in every part of the process with everything that we're doing in our area. The last thing I want to bring to your attention is the dam is doing a 2023 gift program. So you can donate, adopt a youth for these holidays. And the link will be on the page, ward9.ca. We're going to point everything to that, and you can find on there the dam's website. I know what it is, but I'm not going to tell you. Go to ward9.ca and donate adopting a youth for the Christmas holidays. So when you click the link, it'll take you to a gift registry, and you can choose from there how much you want to give, how you want to give back to our youth. The dam has been running for over 25 years, and they're doing great work and really have touched many generations of young people. So please keep that work going. Encourage them, empower them at this time of year. We really do appreciate it. So thank you so much for joining us. Ward9.ca. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Enjoy this time with your family. December's going to be busy. It's going to be fun. Soak it all in and get yourself ready for the new year. Take care.